Good morning. I'm Dr. SHARMA, a resource person for MMPC 02, Human Resource Management. As we have already discussed in the unit number 1, or we can say in the block 1, about the human resource management, about the theories, as well as what are the components are required for the human resource management. Today, in the block 2, we will discuss here sourcing of the human resources. What are the sources of the human resources, which is clearly indicated in the unit number, you can say the 5 and block 2. First of all, according to this specific slide of the human resource management, we will cover here all the important theories, types of trainings. First of all, HR departments are the responsible for attracting, developing, and retaining the human resources. Human resource planning, job analysis, recruiting, selection, and socializations are the example of the specialized functions that deal with these activities. So, in this unit, we will cover about the planning, what are the planning, types of planning, etc. Job analysis, how we can analyze the jobs, and recruitment processes there. Selection and socialization also the part of block number 2. Examples of specialized functions that deals with these activities are, according to this block, it will contain the 4 units that focus on the aforementioned functions. Unit 4 will cover the human resource planning. Unit 5 will cover the job analysis, design, and the evaluations also. In this block, in the unit number 6, we will clearly indicated here that recruitment, selection, and at last, when we will complete this block, it will contain the unit number 7 is known as the socialization and mobility. Both are very, very important parts. Today, the human resource planning is the part of our curriculum, or today is the part of our syllabus here for discussing with the students who are studying here the human resource management. First of all, the objectives. After completion of this unit, you should be able to understand nature and the concept of the human resource planning. That is also known as the HRP. Human resource planning is the HRP. Then what are the objectives of HRP? It is very, very important part. First of all, we have also discussed the objectives are very, very essential part when we will start any curriculum, when we will start any segment or any chapter, there is the need of the objectives. So what are the objectives of the human resource planning is the part of our curriculum. Then what are the factors affected? There are the various factors are there. Internal factors are there, external factors are there. So factors affecting of the human resource planning are also significant under this unit. Then factors, then there are the process of HRP. This is also the part of the unit number 4. Factors affecting HRP. Process of HRP. Methods for forecasting. Supply of the human resource. Forecasting, now the very essential part, how we will plan and how we will manage the human resources, how we will manage the employees. So it is depend upon the forecasting and how many persons, how many employees are required for fulfill this specific programs or specific work in any organization. So forecasting is very important segment of the unit. Then structure of this block 2. We'll continue with the introduction. Clearly, we will discuss here what is the human resource planning, objectives, benefits, and the need of human resource planning. Then, in the point number 4.4, we will clearly discuss here determinants of the human resource planning. What are the determinants and the how can impact upon the human resource planning. Then we will discuss the level of human resource planning. There are the various levels are there. Process of human resource planning is the part of 4.6 in this unit. How the human resource planning carried out, how it is happened, and what are the processes are there to fulfill the human resource planning and how we will plan accordingly. Then, human resource demand forecasting. That is also the part of this unit number 4 and clearly indicated in the block 2 of the human resource plan. Then we will discuss about the human resource supply forecasting, human resource gap analysis. Gap analysis are very, very important. How we can fulfill the gap if there is any discrepancy are there. All the things are depend here upon the calculations. Then, human resource plan operative formulations, and we will discuss about the responsibility of the human resource planning. Problems in human resource planning process. This is also the part of this unit. And guideline for effective human resource planning, also the part of our curriculum. First of all, the introduction part. Human resource planning is the most important HR function. In an organization, this is the first step after sourcing the human resource in an organization. It focuses on ensuring the adequate supply of the human resources, quality of human resources, as well as effective utilization of the human resources. This unit will cover the process of human resource planning. That is very, very important segment. Then, what is the human resource planning? This is the question arises in the mind of the students. What is the human resource? And what is the human resource planning? Human resource planning, that is known as the HRP, may be defined as the strategy for acquisitions, utilization, development, and retention of the human resource. Retention also the very important, how many employees are there and what are the tenures are there. Retention shows the stability of any organization where the employees are still working. So retention of the human resources of an enterprise is the part. The objective is to provide the right human resources for the right work and optimum utilization of the existing human resources also. Human resource planning, that is known as the HRP, may be defined as the strategies or the planning for acquisitions, utilization, development, and retention of the human resources. The objective is to provide the right human resources for the right work and optimum utilization of the existing human resource management. HRP exists as the part of the planning process of business. This is the activity of the management which is aimed at coordinate requirement and coordinate the requirement for and the ability of different types of the employees. The major activities of the HRP, human resource planning, which include forecasting. Forecasting is the future requirement. When we are planning any specific human resource planning for the short term as well as for the long term, then it is directly indicated that forecasting always support for the future requirement. This is the, we can say, preparation for the future, how many employees are required, what are the prerequisites for organization in case of the HRP, in case of the human resources. So forecasting is clearly correlated with the future requirements. Then inventory, present strength, anticipation, comparison of the present as well as the future requirements. And planning necessary program to meet the future requirements are the part of our. Very important, the objectives, benefits, and the need of the human resource plan. Clearly indicated objectives are very, very important. Benefits are also important. Then the need of human resource plan. What are the objectives and what are the benefits to plan accordingly is the part of human resource plan. Like the following are the objective of the human resource plan. Number one, we can say here, assessing the manpower, needs for future, and making the plans for recruitments and the selection. Then, assessing the skills, requirement in future for the organization, determining training and development, needs of the organization. So clearly indicated the point number 3, determining training and the development needs for the organization. Clearly indicated here. Then objectives are the anticipating the surplus or the shortage of the staff and avoiding the unnecessary detentions or dismissals is the part. Controlling wages and the salary. This is also the part. How we can control the wages, how we can control the salaries, how we can financially strong for our organization, how we can provide more profit to organization, how we can stop the wastage. So all the things are depend upon the well planning for the human resources. So when we have planned well, then we can control the various factors which can impact upon the organization, like the wages, salary, cost, etc. We can control, only we can do it when we are able to prepare the human resource planning after the survey, after the study of the organization, so we can plan accordingly. It is very HRP, human resource planning, very according to the organization and according to the nature of work also. And also sometimes it is depend upon the what are the culture of our organization, what are the budgets, what are the strategies higher management required. So all these important things are clearly indicated here with the objectives of the human resource. Then benefits are there. Like the benefits are there, properly HRP results into a number of benefits, not only the 1 or 2 or 3. We are indicating here 4, 5, 6 only, but they are the ample number of the benefits may be there in the human resource plan. Some of them are create a reservoir for the talent. We can reserve the talent according to planning. Preparation of the future HR needs, future how we can plan it. Promote the employees in a systematic manner. Very, very important. Provide the basis of the human resource development that is known as the HRD development is very, very important. Help in the career and succession planning. So benefits are clearly indicated here. Promote employees in a systematic manner and provide the basis for human resource development also. When we are planning well, then there are the more and more and more benefits we can achieve with the help of a stable human resource plan. Next, what are the needs? First of all, when we are starting anything, any topic, any curriculum, any working, then first of all, we need what is the need? How there is the need for a better plan. So need for HRP at the macro level as well as the micro level, both are the levels are there. The need, the major reasons for the emphasis on the human resource planning, which is known as the HRP, at the macro level includes employment and unemployment situations. Number one, how we can correlate unemployment will be converted into the employment when we have a systematic human resource plan. Then technological changes are there. Nowadays, this is the era of the globalization as well as now the era of the artificial intelligence and the era of technology. So technological changes are the part, this is the need of the human resource plan. Organizational changes, organizations are changing. There are the various changes are nowadays we can see in the organizations. So demographic changes are there, skill shortages are there, governmental influences, government policies or central as well as the state government's planning can influence the human resource planning, how we can plan according to the government rules and regulations also. Then legislative controls. When we are bounded with some laws, some regulations, some important, we can say the rules given by the government. So how we can control about the specific thing is depend upon the legislative controls. It's very, very important. This is directly related with the laws. What are the determinants of the human resource plan? Determinants, basically we can say these are the factors. The functions of the HRP is dependent and various factors. These include both the external and internal factors of an organization. Various factors are there. Internal, inside of the organization, it may be the internal policy, then employees are there, policy of the centralization or decentralization, what are the purchasing process, while the external factors which is not under the control of the organization, that may be governed by the government, by the state government, by the central government, by the international rules and regulations. Supply, demand and supply phenomena, etc. So external and internal, Both the factors are there. And to study the external and internal factors, both are also significant also. Both are significant. These factors can be considered as the determinant of the human resource plan. Then you can write down, if it is possible, determinants of HR. This specific diagram or the picture indicated here, they are the external factors are there and internal factors are there, which directly impact upon the human resource plan. We have already discussed previously that the externals are the outer factors, which we cannot control. Internal factors are easy to control, while the external factors, they are quite difficult to control these factors, but we can shape or we can adjust or we can twist or we can plan our human resource planning according to the external factors. These external factors may be, number one, this is clearly indicated here, government policies. Government has the full right to provide the instructions, rules, regulations, etc. for the betterment of the organization, for the betterment of the industry, and for the betterment of the human resources. There are the policies. By the business environment, this is dependent on the economy, what are the supports are provided by the government, and what are the business environment, national or as well as on the international. So level of technology also the part of the external factors when we are planning accordingly. While in case of the business environment, there are the international factors. Then internal factors are much more. Job analysis. Time horizons are what? Trade unions are the part, and so not only the 3 or 4 determinants are there, but in the internal factors, the job analysis is the part, time horizons are the part, trade unions are the part, corporate cultures are the part, management process, how they are dealing with their employees are the part, as well as overall mission and the vision and the objectives of the organizations also the part of the internal factors. What are the vision, what are the missions, and how they want to fulfill their missions and visions accordingly. So they all are the internal factors. The 2 types of the factors are clearly indicated here. First factor was external, and second factors is the internal factor which impact upon the HR, human resource planning. Labels are there. Label of human resource planning, HRP is carried out at the different levels, such as the national level, sectorial level, industry, and unit level. So various levels are there. We have in the mind that how we can prepare for the planning for the human resource. So first of all, at the national level, the central government plans for the human resources at the national level first. It forecasts the demand for and supply of the human resources as the whole. In case of the sectorial level, central and the state governments formulate the human resource plans for the different sectors. For example, industrial sectors are there, agriculture sectors are there, and so many. There are the various sectors are there where we can focus when we are planning as the human resource planning. So national level is important. Also the importance of the sectoral levels are very, very important, significant in case when we are studying about the levels of the human resource plan. Industry level planning are there, or we can say this is the level also. Industry level HRP for the specific industries are prepared by the particular industries. Then unit level planning, HRP for a particular department or the sector of an industry is the prepared at this level. It again includes the following levels. Unit level have the plant level planning, department level planning, divisional level planning. So we can say the unit level of the planning also divided, or we can say the focused, or we can say the concentrated upon the plant level, departmental level, as well as the divisional level also. This is clearly indicated here. I think there is no doubt about the levels of the HRP. It is clearly indicated. Then, process of the human resource planning. The process of HRP is entirely based on the corporate plans and the objectives. HRP is a continuous process of review, control, and assessment. I'm repeating again. The process of HRP is entirely based on the corporate plans and the objectives. And HRP is a continuous process of review, control, and assessments. This HRP process focus on the following steps. Everything, every planning, it is happened step by step. A talent inventory to assess the current human resources and to analyze how they can be used currently. A HR forecast to predict the future HR. Future HR requirements, skill required, and the labor supply also required. Then we can say the action plans to enlarge the pool of the people qualified to fill the vacancies through the various methods. Review and monitoring to provide feedback on the overall effectiveness of the human resource. The major stages of the HRP are as the follows. Under the heading A, we can say analyzing the operational plans. It consists of the following sub-stages like objectives and plannings of the company are analyzed. First of all, the objective, strategies, plans of the company are analyzed. So we can say objectives are always important when we have plans accordingly, any planning for the organization, then what are the objectives of the organizations is the first part to start the planning. You always keep in the mind what are the objectives. Objectives at the time, then you can prepare or plans accordingly the human resource plan in any organization. Then, plans concerning the technological, financial, production, and analyzed, and HRP is prepared keeping these in the mind. Finance, productions, and technology, they are also the important determinants which are keep in the mind when you are planning human resource planning for any organization. Then, future plans. Third part are the future plans. Future plans, goals, and the objectives of the company are also taken into the account when we are planning about the human resource plan. I'm just repeating another objectives of the organization must be analyzed. Number two, plans, technology, finance, production also analyzed. Keep in the mind. And last, or we can say on the third point, we can say the future plans, goals, and the objectives of the company also taken into the account are very important. It is clearly indicated now. Then, human resource demand forecast. HR demand and forecasting mainly involves the three sub-functions. Number one, we can say demand forecast. Demand forecast is the process of estimating future quantity and the quality of the human resource required. Demand forecast, the process of estimating future quantity and quality of the human resource required. Then, manpower gaps. Depending upon the requirement, existing surplus, human resource having the desired skills are matched. If not found, then there is the shortage issue. Surplus human resources having the desired skills only. Then, supply forecast. Basing on the existing HR inventory and the demand forecast, the supply forecast of the human resources is carried out in an organization. This is the part of the supply of the forecast, or we can say supply forecast. Then, in this unit, we are discussing here the human resource demand forecasting. Human resource demand forecasting. There are the two approaches, or maybe more approaches are there, but there are two approaches to the HR demand forecasting: quantitative and qualitative. Here, we must know what is the meaning of quantitative and what is the meaning of qualitative. About two types of the forecasting. You must aware and you must know about the quantitative when there are the numbers are required, when there are the requisites are the number. We are working only the numbers. This is not as the quantitative. What are the quantity? What are the weightage? What are the numbers? Then this forecasting depends upon the quantitative, is clearly depend or indicating the numbers. While in case of the qualitative, then this specific forecasting is based upon the qualities. What are the qualities and what is the result of this specific planning and what are the quality you are providing. So quantitative and qualitative, both types are included in case of the forecasting. When focusing on the human resources, needs forecasting is primarily quantitative in nature and is carried out by highly trained specialists. They must be trained when they are forecasting about the human resources. It is clearly indicated. Quantitative approaches to forecasting can employ the statistical analytical models and at time by simple calculations anticipations the future HR requirements. Organization demands will ultimately determine which technique is to be used, which technique is suitable for the organization when we are forecasting. Regardless of the methods for forecasting plays a major role of the human resource planning. However, small or large the organization is. So this is depend upon the planner as well as after the study or analysis of organization. It is clearly depend upon the forecaster or the HR manager what are the determinants he or she consider when they are planning as the human resource planning for an organization. Then we can say quantitative. Quantitative approaches. Quantitative approaches to forecasting involve the uses of statistical mathematical techniques. Statics are there and mathematics are there. Trends analysis, modeling, or multiple predictive techniques are used. Some of the quantitative techniques are used, like trend analysis. Trend analysis, it forecasts employment requirement on the basis of some organizational index and is one of the most commonly used approaches for forecasting the human resource demand. So two types of techniques we are discussing here, quantitative and qualitative. Next, following steps indicate the steps of trend analysis. These trends are first, select an appropriate business factors. Then this should be the best available prediction or predictor of the human resource needs. Frequently, sales or value added selling price minus cost of material and the supplies, you can calculate it, is used as the prediction in the trend analysis. While in the second, plot a historical trend of the business factors in relation to the number of employees, the ratio of employees to the business factor will provide a labor productivity ratio. For example, sales per employee. What are the sales? And how many employees are there and what is the sale? Then we can calculate the ratio per person, what is the contribution of the employees to increase the sale and what are the sale in the market. It is also the ratio, how many employees are required for fulfill this specific sale in the market. Third, we can compare the productivity. Okay, we can say the productivity ratio for at least the past 5 years. We can compare since last 5 years, what was the sale, then at particular year, what is the sale, we can, or you can say the sale as well as the production also. We can calculate accordingly. Then as the fourth, we can calculate the human resource demand by dividing the business factors, divided the business factor by the productivity ratio. Finally, we can say project the human resource demand out the target year. So these are some specific things are there which must be considered by the HR manager when he or she plan accordingly as the human resource plan. Modeling or multiple predictive techniques are also there for forecasting. Several mathematical models are there with the aid of the computers are also used to forecast the human resource needs, how many persons are required. That is optimization models, budgets and planning analysis is the part. Whereas the trend analysis relies on a single factor, that is the sales, to predict employment needs, moral, more and more advanced techniques we can use, as well as disposable income, sales, to predict employment levels. While the cost of developing these forecasting methods used to be quite high, advances in the technology and computer software have made rather the sophisticated forecasting more affordable to even the small business. Then, qualitative approach. In the contrast of the qualitative approaches for forecasting useless statistical tools, expert forecast, and Delphi techniques are the most commonly used qualitative techniques. Expert forecast. In this method, when we are planning, in this method, managers estimate the future human resources. How the, how the human resources are required, how many human resources are required for the future. So in this method, managers or HR managers estimate the future human resource requirement, their experiences, and judgments to good effects are the part of the expert forecast. Then, Delphi technique. Delphi technique, it attempts to decrease the subjectivity of the forecast by involving a group of pre-selected individuals and soliciting and summarizing the judgments. This method works best in the situation where the dynamic technological changes affect staffing levels also. Now this is clearly indicated and I think you understand what is the expert forecast and what is the meaning of the Delphi technique used for the forecasting, especially when we are plan as the HRP, Human Resource Plan. HR planners many times go further and analyze the demand also on the basis of workforce analysis, workload analysis, and the job analysis. Then we can discuss here workforce analysis to determine the rate of the influx and outflow of the employees correlated, and we can understand the workforce analysis. It is through this analysis one can calculate the labor turnover, absenteeism rate, etc. Qualitative methods go a long way in analyzing the internal flow created by the promotions and transfers also. Workload analysis. Calculate the number of persons required for various jobs with the reference to a planned output. This take into the consideration factors such as absenteeism. Both the quantitative and qualitative techniques are utilized for accurate results. Then job analysis. It is very important definition and it is very important phenomena, which is the part of the human resource planning, or we can say that this is the part of the human resource HRM. Job analysis helps in finding out the abilities or skills required to do the jobs efficiently. I'm repeating again. Job analysis helps in finding out the abilities or the skills required to do the jobs efficiently. A detailed study of job is usually made to identify the qualified and experience required for them. Job analysis include two things. First is the job descriptions, and second one is the job specification. Job descriptions and job specification. What are the specified persons are required, and what is the description of job is the part of the job analysis. Very common term is this. Human resource supply forecast. Once an organization has forecast its future requirement for employees, then it goes on to the next research, that is from where can it fulfill its requirement. It therefore needs to determine if there are the sufficient number and the types of employees and how many are eligible for the requisite positions. Supply analysis thus involve the planning for the procurement, who, from where, how and when. There the answers are there: who, from, where, how and when is the part of this plan. There are normally two sources of supply, internal as well as the external. Two type of the supply we can do here in case of the human resource supply forecast. Internal sources. The most important approaches to be followed by all the managers or HR managers is to look within the organization until and unless the opening is not related to immensely diversified field of which the existing workforce might not possess the requisite skills, and the cost of training may be working out to be high. It is easier to go in for an internal source of recruitment because it is the cost saving in many ways to utilize what is already available to the organization. Just a focus on an internal supply analysis is done with two segments: staffing tables and managing charts also. Here, pictorial representations of all the organization jobs along with the numbers of employees currently occupying those jobs and future employment requirements are the part of staffing tables. Markov analysis. Markov analysis shows the percentage and actual number of the employees who remain in each jobs from 1 year to the next. Thus keeping track of the pattern of employees' movement through the various jobs. Thus this analysis results in a composite matrix of supply. So there is the staffing table as well as Markov analysis which show the percentage. Skill inventories are there. List the each employees, their education, What is the education of employee, past working experiences, any other experiences, workshop attended, etc. There are many opportunities are there with the employees. So it will indicate or provide the overall skill of the employees, which is prerequisite to fulfill the goals of an organization. Then replacement chart is there. Replacement chart helps to derive the profile of job holders, department wise, and reveals those who could be used as the replacement whenever the need arises. External sources are there. It is only when the cost of the procuring the labor of, from the internal source is more and also present the staff cannot be spared for the future assignment. The company preferred to the external sources. Therefore, to summarize, we are summarizing here the following data should be available for a comprehensive supply forecast. Like number one, we can say the skill base, potential trainability, and the current and potential productivity levels of the existing workforce. Number two, structure of the existing workforce in terms of age distribution, skills, hours of work, rate of pay, and so on. So there are the various factors are skill based and structure of existing workforce must be considered. The possible changes in the productivity that are the size and structure of the workforce due to resignations, resignations, retirements, promotions, and transfers also. Absentees and other external factors, economic and the cultural factors are there, which may induce such changes. The availability of the relevant skill in the external labor market for present and the future use. HR planner will have to assess and monitor the factors such as the market value, image, preferences of the existing labor for the company, motivation of the prospectives are the part. Then human resource gap analysis is the part of this block. The final stage is to be balanced out the demand and the supply. What is the demand and what is the supply and what is the gap is there? Then we can focus upon the gap and how we can fulfill this gap is also the part of the human resource planning, and this is the part of the human resource gap analysis. Closer the gap, the better it is for the company when it actually goes into the procuring. A comparison chart can be developed to find what is available and to what extent it can fulfill the demand for forecast. This experience helps us have an idea of the quantitative and the qualitative gaps in the workforce. So, a reconciliation of demand and supply forecast will give the number of the people to be recruited. It will give the number how many persons are required to fulfill this specific mission. Human resource plan operative formulations. They are the organization operates in a changing environment. Consequently, human resource requirements also change continuously. Changes in the product mix, union agreements, competitive actions, are some of the important things that need the special attention. The human resource requirement identified the needs to be translated into the concerned HR plans, backed up by detailed policies, programs, and the strategies are there. Recruitment plans will indicate the number and the types of the people required and when they are needed. Special plan to recruit the right people and how they are able to deal them with via the recruitment programs. Redeployment plans are there, will indicate the programs for transferring or retraining existing employees for the new jobs. Redundance plans will indicate who is redundant, when and where, the plans of retaining where this is possible, and plans for golden handshake are there also sometimes. They are giving them some specific or handsome money, and this is a type of the retirement also. Retrenchment and layoff also. So layoffs are, we can say, when in case of, we can say layoff in case of the sugar industry, when 6 months are working and six specific months are there are the, they close the functions. So there are the part of the layoffs are there. Training plans will indicate the number of trainees or apprentices are required, how many persons are required for the training, and the program for recruiting or training them. Existing staff required in training or retaining, new courses to be developed for change to be effective in the existing courses. Productivity plan will indicate the regions for employees' productivity or reducing the employees' cost through the work simplification studies, mechanization process, productivity, bargaining is the part, and the incentives, profit sharing schemes, and job redesigning is the part of the productivity plan. How we can increase the productivity and or how we can maintain the productivity are the part of the specific thing, like the incentives and profit sharing are the schemes. Retention plan will indicate the regions for employee turnover and how the strategies to avoid the wastage through the compensation policies, changes in work requirement, and improvement in the working conditions. Control points are the entire manpower. Plan B subject to the close monitoring from time to time. Control the points we set up to find out the deficiencies, periodic updations are there. Inventory in the light of the changes are there. Circumstances we can understand to remove the deficiencies and develop the future plans. So important are there. Understand to remove the deficiencies and develop the future plans are the part of the controlling points. Responsibility for human resource planning. To top level executives are responsible for HR planning, and it's one of the important factors influencing the success of an organization. The plans are usually prepared by the human resource department in consultation with the other departments. The human resource department offer the consultations, console and advise to the various divisions head and coordinate the various HR estimated from time to time. Professor Glazer's outline the responsibilities of the human resource department in respect of the human resource planning. Assist and console the operating managers to plan and set the objectives. Collect and summarize the manpower data is the part. Keeping the long-term objectives and the broad organizational interests in the mind when they are preparing for the specific plan. Monitor and measures performance against the plan and keep top management informed about it. Provide the proper research for effective and more effective manpower and organizational planning is the part of this specific part. Problems in human resource planning process. The main problems are of HRP, In accuracy, HRP is entirely depend on the HR forecasting and supply, which can not be a percent accurate. Then employees resistance, employees and their unions feel by HRP, their workload increase, so their resistance are there. There are some specific problems are faced by the HR manager when they are planning as the human resource planning. Uncertainties are there, labor absenteeism are the part, turnover, seasonal employment, technological changes, inefficient information system may be a part, may be a problem. In India, in Indian industries, HRIS is not much strong. In the absence of reliable data, it is not possible to develop the effective HRP. Time and expenses is the time consuming. Time and expenses, HRP is the time consuming and expensive exercise, so industries avoid. Guideline for effective human resource planning. There are the guidelines must be considered. Number one, tailor-made. HRP should be balanced with the corporate objectives. Number two, appropriate time should be there. Number three, adequate organization should be there. HR process should be adequate, properly organized. So there are two or three parts are there. Tailor-made, appropriate timing, and adequate organization is the part or the guidelines for the effective human resource planning. How we can make it more effective. Top management support should be there. Before starting the HRP process, the support and the commitment of the top management should be ensured. Participation will be successful if an organization are participating in total overall. Then information system and educate database should be there and balance the focus. So these are the part we have covered here, the unit number 4 under the part of the block 2. In the next session, we will continue with a new unit, which is the part of the human resource planning or human resource management. Namaskar. Thank you very much.